we wasn't there, that I think we was in his mind.
Amen.
He knew us.
Yes.
It says he knew us before the foundation of the world.
Mm-hmm.
In his mind we were there.
Mm-hmm. He saw every one of us.
Yes, he did. The ones that would believe. He knew what his father gave him. He said, I'll lose none. I want to try to speak a little bit of 1 Samuel chapter 17. The Philistines gathered together only to battle and were gathered together. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by a valley, Neelam, and set in battle array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath. And Goliath's height was 6 cubits and a span. He was a giant. And he had a helmet of brass on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat and stuff was 1,000 shekels of brass, if I'm saying that right. And up on his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders, and a staff of spear and a weaver's beam. It weighed 600 shekels of iron, and the bearing of the shield went before him. Now he was mounted, you couldn't get nothing through him. This was a heavy armor he had on him. And he was able to fight and to kill and live your servants, but I'll prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants. And he stood and cried into the army of Israel. Let's go back a little bit. And said it to them, where you come out to set your battle array, and am I not a Philistine, and you servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. And if he able to fight with me, and to kill me, then I will be your servant. But if you prevail against him and kill him, then shall be our servant and serve us. Now, it was just like little midgets to this man, because he was such a big man, and he had the best armor. You wouldn't know where this one of those little swords that they had was going to pierce through this. And the Philistines said to the army of Israel, this man, give me a man that we may fight together. And Saul and all Israel heard these words of Philistines. They were afraid. Now David was the son of Ephraim of Bethlehem, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons, and the man went old in the days. And the eldest of Jesse went and followed Saul to battle, and named his sons. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep in Bethlehem. And the Philistines drove near in the evening, in the morning, and the evening, and presented himself 40 days. And Jesse said to David, take now for thy brethren even of this parched corn and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to my brethren. Go see how my sons are doing, more or less, and go check on them to see how the battle's going. And as Saul and all the men were in the valley of Elijah fighting, and there was the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning. And he was he left the sheep with the keeper, and took with Jesse and commanded him to come to the trench, and hosts was coming forth to fight and shout for battle. Now the men of Israel, when they were seeing this man come up, surely the death of Israel was come up, and shall be that the man who killed him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and give him his daughter to make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to these men, and done to the man that kills his fellow, what is he going to do to him? And he reproached from Israel. The Philistines had taken away the reproach from Israel, and he was this uncircumcised Philistines, that he should defy the army of the living God. David, his warrior was God.
Mm-hmm.
This man was just fighting just to kill.
God was fighting the battle.
Right. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so it be done, the man that killed him. And he lied. His eldest brother heard him spanking the men, and he answered, and his anger was kindled against David. He said, why canst thou come down here? You've left those few sheep in the wilderness, and know the pride and the naughtiness of his heart, for they are come down to men to see the battle. He thought David was just coming down to see what was going on, to spy on them. And he had no business being there. He wasn't worried about his father's few sheep. That he didn't want his little brother to be there to act like he was bigger than they were, if you want to put it that way in English. And David said, what have I done? There is not a cause. God already had this in plan, in store, what David was going to go do. And words are here that David spake and rehearsed to Saul, they sent for him. And David said, not let Saul let no man's heart fail because of him. The servant would go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art able to against the Philistine to fight with him. You are nothing but a youth. You're just a lad. And he's been a warrior since he was a little youth, young boy, lad. All of his life, this is all he's ever done, was fight. And you can't go up against him. And David said to Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, but there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. And when I went after him and spoke to him and delivered him out of the mouth, and when he rose against me, I caught him by the beard and smote him and slew him. And the servant slew both the lion and the bear, and his uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defiled the army of the living God. When the Philistine went against God's army, David knew that he had the battle won. Mm-hmm. That's why God sent him there. God already sent David. He knew what David was going to be. He knew he could take out him because he had God fighting his wars. He had God on his side. That's one thing the big giant didn't have. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paws of the lion and out of the paws of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hands of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with thee. God was already with him before he even got there. God was with him when he killed the bear and the lion. He's with us every minute of the day. We might try to push him off, but he's there. Because he said, I'll never leave you or I'll never forsake you. God is always there. He's never late. He's always on time. Just like when they told him to come at Lazarus. Lazarus was dead. He waited 4 days. Says, why do you think you'd come earlier, you would save him? God was right on time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's thinking, but now.
He wasn't late. He wanted to prove to them what power he had. If he'd have went right then, they would have been nothing. But this was 4 days. He wasn't late. He was right on time. He's always on time. David said, moreover, the Lord has delivered me out of the paws of the lion and out of the paws of the bear. He delivered me out of the hands of this Philistine. And Saul was armed David with his armor and put his helmet of brass upon his head, and he armed him with a coat of maul. And David girdled his sword upon his armor, and he is safe to go, for he had not proven it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proven them. And David put them off him. Now David was a little man. And I'm pretty Saul was probably a big old man. It probably didn't fit him too good anyway. He probably couldn't. But I have proven not to hurt his feelings, And he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag. And he had even in his scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistines came and drew near to David. And he knowed the bear, the shield went before him, and when the Philistine looked and saw David, it dismayed him, for he was but a youth and ruby and of a fair countenance. Now David was just a little puny little feller, and here they going to send this little feller out there on me. I'm a giant. I can just step a foot on him and squash him probably. And he said, David, am I a dog that comes to me with staff? And the Philistines cursed David by his gods. See, he made another mistake. He made a lot of mistakes. But you don't curse God. And the Philistine to David, come to me and I will give thy flesh to the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. And David with a sword and spear and a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the army of Israel, whom thou hast defiled. David already won the battle when he come and told him who was fighting for him. Mm-hmm. This day will the Lord deliver thee into thy hands, and I will smite thee and take thee head from thee, and I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowl of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, and all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. God has never left Israel, but they didn't think there was a God in Israel. They didn't want to hear what Jesus And what they was trying to preach to what Jesus, well, he wasn't been there. He was there, but he wasn't here on earth then. And they all assembled and shall know the Lord save not the sword and the spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. He was fighting for God. He didn't need all them swords. He probably didn't even need that rock and the little sling. But that's what his choice of weapons was. But he knew God was going to make sure he hit right center of his head.
I think God guided that.
Yeah. And probably had a lot of power behind that slingshot. And it come to pass when the Philistines rose and came, and he drew nigh to David. And David hastened and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag and took this a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine's forehead. And it sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face. So David prevailed over the Philistines with a sling and a stone, and smote the Philistines and slew him there. It was no sword in his hand. And David ran upon and stood upon the Philistine, and took a sword and drew it out of his sash. Therefore, and slew him and cut off his head. Therefore, when the Philistine saw the champion was dead, the men of Israel and Judah rose and shouted to pursue the Philistines into the valley, into the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Sharon, even to Gad, and to Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled the tents. And David took the head of the Philistines and brought it to Jerusalem, and he put it in his honor tent. And it goes on, David, they made him a great king. David was a great king. One place it says even he was after God's own heart. And David had a lot of riches, and he had anything he wanted. God gave him all of this.
A lot of wives, too.
Had a lot of wives, but that wasn't good enough for David. On over in chapter 11, he goes that when the year, after the year expired, it was the time when the kings go to battle, and David and Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besought Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it come at the evening time, and David rose off his bed, and he walked up on his roof, and he looked, and he seen this woman bathing. And he inquired about her, and he sent for her. And he lay with her, and she was with child. And she told him, and David said to Uriah, go down to the house. Now he sent him up. It was Uriah's wife. Came into him, and David demanded how Joab did, and how those people did, and how he wore the spotless. And David said to him, so go down to my house and wash their feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house and followed him with the mess of meat from the king. Now, David had already messed up. But he was wanting Uriah to go down and be with his wife so he could say, well, that's yours. But he wouldn't. God was in control of this too, because God had it all planned out. He was the one that stopped him from going home.
David already been with him.
And then when he seen that he wouldn't go, he sent a letter by him to the captain over the army and told him to put him right in the hottest battle so he'd get killed. And that's what he did. And then Nathan come to David and he said to David, there were two men in the city, one rich and the other poor. And the rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds. But the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb. And he had brought nourishment up, and it grew together with him, and children that did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and laid it in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto a rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock, of his own herd, to dress it for the wayfaring man. And he come unto him, and took the poor man's lamb, and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger, he was greatly kindled against this man. He said, Nathan, as the Lord liveth, this man that has done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. Oh, he was mad because this was happening. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. This said the Lord God of Israel, anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hands of Saul. I have given thee master houses and master wives into thy bosom. I give thee the house of Israel, Judah, and it hath been too little. I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. All you have to do is ask. I would give you more. You had it all anyway, but I would give you more. But he had to take Uriah's wife. And he commanded the Lord to do evil in the sight, and thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast decided me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. This said the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thy own house, and I will take wives before thee, and give them to thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the son, of this son. For thou didst secretly, but I will do these things before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also has put away the sin. Thou shalt not die. And we know he didn't take David's life, but when the kid was born, he got sick. Mm-hmm. And David, he fasted while the child was sick, and he wouldn't eat. That's what fasting is. He lay there and he wouldn't bath and everything, and they kept wondering, and the child died. And they was whispering, now what's he going to do, since he done all this while he was living? They didn't want to tell him, and he revealed that it was dead. And he got up and ate and bathed. And they said, why did you do this when he was living? He said, providentially, God might have changed his mind and give me the child back. And I fasted and waited. Now that he's gone, I can't go to him. He can't come back to me, but I can go to him. We can't bring our loved ones back. If they made it to heaven, we got to strive to get there ourselves. I don't know if we'll know who's who. The way I read it, we'll all look like Jesus. We'll all be angels. We'll all be one. There will not be no male, female. We'll be a spirit floating in the air. But it says we'll all look like him. And I'll be satisfied. Mm-hmm. That's the day I'm looking forward. I can walk those streets of gold. Yeah. I won't have these old pains every morning when I get up. There'll be no more tears. Won't be no more worries. Nobody hurting your feelings. Our eyes will be on Jesus Christ. Glory, glory to him. Giving him the honor and the glory that he rightfully deserves. We got something to boast about, children. We got mansions. We got this paradise. Our little puny minds can't imagine what lays in store for us when he says, go get my children. Mm-hmm. We can drive around the countryside and see some beautiful sights. Out in these hills and stuff. Because I hunt a little bit. These places, the other day I went to a place that I've never been to, and I've been by it many a time, but I went another way. Those things are beautiful, but it's nothing compared to what heaven is going to be like. Yeah. And what would you give? If you lose your soul, what would you give? And it is, there are one or two places we're going to go.
You give the world what
you lost your soul to lose. We don't have to give up nothing. We just got to follow Jesus, his commandments. We act like, oh, that's a hard thing to do. It's not a hard thing to do. There's one or two places you want to go. It's either heaven or hell. And they're both are real places. The old devil, he's got power. But God has more power. Just like in the book of Job, he said you got a shield around him. He do whatever you want to do him, but don't take his life. The devil can't do that. But he can make it rough on you, and you think it's good. They can brainwash you. He can brainwash you. But God has more power, and he loves you. God is love. To come down and lay his life down that we would have a place to go back to. That's the only way. He paid that price that we cannot pay. We don't have nothing to pay with. It's a free gift. The grace of God, his mercy, his love that he loves each and every one of us. And God bless you. I love you, but I always remember he loves you more.
Amen.
Brother.
Yes, Peter.